We're continuing our conversation with John and Rachel of Jagoff. Where does Jagoffs go from here?
I don't know
You know,
you
that's a
said
good
that.
question. We're so lucky, seriously, without sounding like kumbaya or, what's Colin's hashtag blessed. You know, when we put our minds to something, it's going to happen. And that's the coolest part is knowing that if I have an idea, and I take it to him and he believes in it, it's going to happen. The measure of success is different in every avenue, every endeavor. We just launched our beer and hoped that we would get some pre-sales and we sold out. And then, we said, well, let's talk about doing something different with our t-shirt logo. And
Mm-hmm.
people have come out and said, well, how about this and this and this? So we're fortunate because our intention is always good and it's to better other people, not just ourselves. So I think what's next is figuring out how we continue to remain relevant as a 44-year-old mom of three and, a 50 something almost grandfather.
Well, we always talked about adaptability. We always talk about flexibility.
Yeah.
And one of our precepts is what I have on my other arm here is do no harm. And when we look at intentionality, and we always preface our choices on doing no harm. And it sounds like you've encompassed that also.
We've been
Hope so.
fortunate, yeah, because again, the extension of the brand, the blog became videos, the videos became a podcast, the podcast became videos and a podcast, and then we started doing events, and then T-shirts, and ancillary sales, and like Rachel said, now we have a beer. A local brewery liked our brand and said, "Hey, do you guys want to make a Jagoff
Cool.
beer?" We did, and so the brand extension, which we like, but only when it means goodwill. So, we're all about the positivity of, hey, we want everybody to walk up and say, I want to get Jagoff beer. And then when that certain entity, we want to be so big that when that one certain entity who keeps turning us down for an interview says, we cannot turn them down.
Who turned us down
anymore.
Oh, just the one?
Yeah.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah.
So I consider business, getting ahead in life, and particularly recovery, it's like rowing a canoe upstream. As long as you're paddling, you can get ahead. Sometimes a little slower than you'd like, but you keep
Right.
moving ahead. But if you stop paddling, you don't stand still.
And that would be true. In our case, some
Yeah.
days we're both paddling in the same direction. Like, let's just take your whole example, right? Some days we're on each side of the boat, we're just paddling as hard, 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 hard. Then there's some days where the other one has to go, okay, I'll go to the back of the boat and just kind of paddle. You put your paddle out in there and steer while I take over for a while. You go do something else. And then we might switch. And there are some days we feel like both of us have pulled our paddles in and we're spinning around in the what do you call it, the
Like
funnel.
waiting.
Yeah, and like, or there are some days like the canoe's going down through the hard rocks and it is raging rapids, but somewhere along the way we're fortunate. I love that example because we literally are very fortunate enough that each one of us can sort of put the paddles in the water at different times and take over for the other one, and very, again, with 100% confidence that the other one's doing the right
Yeah, that's the
thing.
cool part too. Like we will say sometimes we don't even like message each other on who's doing what, but I know that I'm not good at one particular part of our business, so I already am like he's going to do that. And without me saying, he'll basically know that I'm working on something else. And we sort of, while we will communicate, hey, divide and conquer, I'm doing this, what are you doing? Um, Sometimes things get so crazy and we don't know that. I mean, things slip through the cracks, like emailing Mike Sorback on things, um, but for the most part, we're pretty good about just knowing what the other one's strengths are and knowing that it's going to get done.
Well, John, you have gifts, talents, and abilities, as do you, Rachel, and it sounds like you fit them together. And I know that when we have staff meetings, I tell people I'm only interested in things that we can do. I'm not interested in spending a lot of time on things we can't do and why we can't do them.
Yeah, I think we would agree with that. Right?
Yeah, for the most part, I think so.
But
I think
Rachel's more of a person. Maybe she won't say this, but she's more of you need about 10 answers to why 10 deep as to why you can't do this. Like, let's not do this is a better answer to Rachel, and with the reason why. But if you say you can't do this,
We're gonna do it.
she will drive this home to find out why can't we? What are the barriers in your way to get this done? And maybe it does come down that we don't do it because, but there are a fair amount of whys, so that no stone is left unturned.
Well, everyone needs to have someone to ground them. I always encourage people to have their head in the clouds, however, their feet on the ground. And I have a business manager myself, and I always tell her that if I didn't have her, I'd be floating through the forest, bouncing off trees, petting squirrels, and playing magic flutes. Uh, so yeah, we always need to be able to have the capacity to ground each other.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
well, and he has that rational piece to him. It's but it has a way, again, females have that way. We're oversensitive. We, sometimes overthink things, and it's super helpful to have him kind of say, all right, let's just think about, like, give it a day. Don't overreact. Let's think this through. There's a rationale to it that I think helps, again, that balance. And it's cool. I think the biggest testament for us is we had one person who worked for us for quite some time, and we've grown to like six. And every one of them say, I love working with you, and knowing that it's not just us and that they actually enjoy it is such a gift and such the best, I think, um, feedback that we could ask for.
What a
Mhm.
wonderful compliment.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, I'm pretty faithful, and I thank God all the time that, they literally, we have moments, where we all share text messages, or and especially the one Colin, who has been with us for 4 years. He did little work here and there before we technically partnered. And he was like, I love working for you guys. Like,
Mm.
I enjoy being with you. Even on downtime, like, he'll say, well, when are we having a little company picnic? Or, when can we just hang out? Or he'll take pictures and just say, like, I love my bosses. Um, and I think it's equally important that we've never referred to anyone as people who work for us.
Ah,
And they say that, like, they'll say, I work for John and Rachel. And we'll say, no, you don't. We're a team. We're not who we are without their help. And not that we're anything special, but we're fortunate because the work ethic is there, but they also share it. And like he says, I love when he says it's, mind, heart, and soul. And it's so true. Like, we really have the right team right now who believe in it, equally proud. And they're like, let's do this. Like, they know we're crazy. I mean, they admit that we're crazy, but they love it.
well,
Yeah.
Rachel, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. So, what are you confident about, and how are you at accepting compliments, Rachel?
Me?
Yes.
How am I accepting compliments?
Yes.
I'm not very well.
Uh,
um, I think that, with growth, I think we all figure out what our strengths are. And I'll be the first one to say, I know that I'm smart, and I know that I will figure it out. Like, that's my like, I'll figure it out, but like, him even saying that, nice things about me, it's great and I appreciate it, but I don't take kindly.
can
That's
you
he
say
doesn't.
can you say thank you to John when he compliments you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, no,
She
say
punched me in the
I say
face.
that's not true, but yeah.
So, John, what are you confident about? If you could say, "I, John, am confident."
I don't think that I ever feel confident.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I do okay, and I think I'm average at everything. And I'm not saying that to kind of put the hook out there, fishing without bait. And I'm
That
not
was
saying
good.
that to put the hook out there, to say, oh, please compliment me. I really do. I don't know. I don't believe that. I mean, I'm confident in myself that I can walk into a meeting, have the objectives, and drive a really good meeting where people get something out of it. But I'm confident in my ability to be professional and but also be show my vulnerability at the same time. I've read enough. My time in college was all those leadership books
Ah,
of show your vulnerability, and I 100% believe in that. And I, and as far as I don't take I don't take compliments very well either. I run and hide into a cupboard. I mean, I do. I get shy. I mean, I say thank you, but it's very nice of you to say, but I don't see what you see. But going back to even what Rachel said, so many companies say that we have team members. They don't work for us. They just say they have team members, but we really do believe that. And I think that our staff's reactions to that are as well. We always tell them there's no way that we could run out and be the free podcasters, the non-paid podcasters, John and Rachel, to interview a really cool celebrity
Yeah.
without the entire team to be able to pick up the ball that day, get out the press releases, make sure all the social media is going out there. We literally couldn't have this podcaster life, this side life, without them. And I believe that they know that in their hearts, because we don't just tell them that all the time. We reflect that in our team meetings. We don't say, here's what you're going to do this week. We have them come in and say, what do you need from us this week?
Yeah.
We work for you.
Well, let me ask you both these questions. Do you both know the difference between right and wrong?
Definitely.
Yes.
Do you both have a moral compass?
Definitely.
Yes.
Do you both have the ability to be dependable?
Definitely.
Yes.
Do you both have the ability to tell the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you treat people with courtesy and respect?
No doubt.
No doubt.
Then there's much right about you both.
Well, thank you.
We need to talk to you regularly.
You just call us around 6:30 every morning and just say, hey,
Well, when I ask people, that's why I always ask people, well, what's right about you? Most people, they flounder at that question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we do, but we'll tell each other. So that helps.
yeah.
Like I'm like, John, you're not average.
Yeah. Well, we used to do a thing in another job of mine with we treat everybody like dirt, dignity, inclusiveness, respect, and a sense of team.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's such a simple thing. But it's not an easy thing for everybody to carry out, because when it's very easy to get pompous. Oh yeah, we did this, we did that. But for us, it's not. It's everybody gets dignity, inclusiveness, respect, and a sense of team.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. There's a huge difference between arrogance and confidence.
Mhm.
Arrogant people you want to avoid. Confident people you'll follow.
Yeah. Yeah, we would agree.
Agree.
So we always want to start off with what's right about us. What's right about, so generally when I have these staff meetings, I'll go around and I'll say, tell us something that you're doing right. Tell us what we're doing right as a practice goes. Do you ever have any brainstorming sessions like that?
We have.
Yeah, I guess we have. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we try, like back to what he said, even every Wednesday is our team meeting. It's about 2 hours. And instead of us talking about what the prior week entailed or what's needed, we said, we're wasting your time. You're grown adults. What do you need from us? And what do you need us to do to make you successful? And I think it just by being parents that we both have it in us to kind of do the whole accolade thing, right? Like it is so important that they know, thanks to you doing XYZ, we were able to whatever, or, hey, you're going to see this week that we're on Pittsburgh Today Live, or we're going to be featured in Pittsburgh Magazine. That isn't just us. We just happen to be the representation of the team. Specifically, when there have been any kind of issues, we've said, we need to get to this right now. Let's talk about it. Let's sit down and think about where this could go and where we don't want it to go and how we can get through it.
Yeah.
Right?
And to be honest, Mike Sorg is he's not on our every Wednesday call, but he is part of our team, because the person who produces this podcast for you produces a lot of our online events, because we don't have that technical capability.
Yeah.
And there's a person who has so much experience. And when we're sort of spinning around in the water with our paddles on our laps, he's the guy that comes in and hooks the motorboat up and says, let me tell you out of this mess. And again, we sit there and think, like, we have the utmost in confidence in him to know that when it's really hitting the fan, he's going to walk in, kind of calm the waters and say, guys, I got this. Here's what I'm going to do.
True.
And that team, he allows us to be able to do the crazy crap that we come up with, whether it's an online game show or whatever it is. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do some of the things.
I couldn't agree more, but we do not play "The Party Starts When Mike Walks In." The party doesn't start.
Well, quite often what we have, and when we have minds of uncertainty, it leads to minds of anxiety, worry, and fear.
Right.
So we want to replace that mind with a mind of knowledge. And where do we get the knowledge from? Probably not from the service counter at Giant Eagle or
Right.
your next door cousin's mechanic. Or what I caution my patients on is to avoid Dr. Google. So you seek someone with a mind of knowledge. And that makes you feel. Do you have confidence in Mike?
Utmost.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, he represents, again, know your strengths. He makes us better because of the strengths that he has that we lack. That's something that we don't know how to do. And I think it's also because of the friendship. It's beyond just accepting and being appreciative of the fact that he's good at what he does. I think that I learned early on, surround yourself with the right people and success will come your way. And I've truly lived by that. I've taught my children that. And I think that that's where we're really fortunate because even though, Mike's not, like John said, not on a team every day, there's a support system of people who have really helped,
Yeah.
knowledge wise for sure.
I know Mike has to be like the guy Dan who helped start the blog way back when the blog would break down because I was technically incompetent, as I still am, according to as Mike will tell you as well. But I was like, Dan, I need to talk to you. I'm like, oh God, it's that guy John calling again. so now here's my story. Goes, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what are
So now I email so that it's not so bad.
What are Rachel and John up to? For God's sakes, tell them I got a new who this new phone. but the fact is that right? When we have to panic about something technical, it's literally call Mike, and it's so wonderful to have that confidence in somebody like that. Let alone, they're just the same thing: confident, never arrogant, just 100% confident in himself, but never arrogant.
Right. So it takes many blocks in the pyramid to make it whole.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Indeed. So for the vast legions of Fishing Without Bait fans that span time and space, how would they contact you? How would they access your podcast, your videos?
Well, the podcast is on Odyssey, used to be called the radio.com app, but you can get it wherever. It goes to all of the feeds. It comes out every Monday around 2:00 on the feed to the subscribers. And if you're not sure, you want to just kind of poke around and secret, like you go to the car dealer on Sunday night and you secretly walk around. If you want to secretly walk around and figure out what we do, you could just go to our website, Jagoff.com, and you spell it just like you would yell it. Jagoff, YAJAGOFF.com. And you can kind of find us there. But I don't know. You can also find us on LinkedIn for business purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to put a link in for you folks, and I hope to have you back sometime in the future. And you both have certainly been delightful.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Likewise, would love to have you come on and tell your story, and I'll get a lot of whys. Why?
Well, I have a bit of a recovery story. I have a past, Rachel. So
okay. I love that.
Well, and it seems like you're doing good with what you were given, and we love that story.
I'd love to tell it. So perhaps we can do that sometime. And folks, at the end of every podcast, we offer a free prescription: fruits, nuts, and vegetables, and unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Forgive yourself and forgive another. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.